everyone, welcome to Embodied Mind. I'm Danielle Rubio, Anxiety and Somatic Coach, and your guide for these Embodied Mind classes. If you're not familiar with my work, I'll give just a very brief introduction. So I have over 15 years experience as a body worker, as a yoga teacher, including trauma-informed yoga, a meditation teacher, and somatic trauma therapy practitioner. In these Embodied Mind classes that I created, I'm teaching you and showing you how to gain capacity in your nervous system and your soma for whole self-empowerment. And in doing this, we are starting to heal our anxiety. So in these classes, we work with nervous system regulation, embodiment practices, mindfulness, breath work, and movement therapy. And in these practices, as we do them more and more, we will begin to notice that we have more calm and centered lives. We feel more empowered in ourselves because we have more spaciousness, because we have less anxiety. And that's what I mean in gaining capacity in the nervous system. So I might bring up terminology in these classes that is unfamiliar to you, and I encourage you to simply allow yourself to live the practice, to experience the practice. Just keep going. Oftentimes in our Western way of thinking, we want to figure everything out. We want to know exactly what this means and exactly what this means. And we turn our learning into a mental strategy. And so I invite you instead with these Embodied Mind classes to just do the practice, do the movement. So something I always tell my clients is that we learned how to move before we learned how to think. So the body holds so much intelligence and so much capacity to change. And it's really about allowing it to happen and not letting our thinking brain get in the way of that and kind of take over the show. I want to also just mention that for a lot of people with anxiety, it can be really hard to slow down enough to do these practices. And I'm really, from someone who cured her anxiety, I really am inviting you, do the work, do the practice. I promise that the more you show up to these classes, you will experience your anxiety begin to ease. I will say that the classes are best when they're paired with working with me one-on-one with somatic coaching. However, they're also an incredible place to start, okay? An incredible standalone practice as well as a place to get your feet wet in this work and with nervous system regulation in general. And so I may have already used terminology that you're not familiar with. And so again, I'll say, as we go along in these classes, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I will also include a lot of theory in the classes because I know that in order for you to really absorb the learning, you also need to know why what we're doing is helpful. And so I will include some theory in these classes as well. And I will also include my email at the end of each class so that if questions arise, you're more than welcome to email me. Also, if strong emotions start to arise, which is very common, okay? So emotions are not of the thinking mind, emotions are of the body. And when we listen to the body speaks. So if strong emotions start to arise in these classes, you're also more than welcome to email me and we can communicate a bit about it. And what I'll say, if strong emotions arise as you're doing the practice, really allow it to be. So when we feel, we heal. So as much as you can, be with what's happening. Whatever happens in this class, be with it. Okay, it can be a whole wide range of what can come up. And the point is that when things come up, when we do this work, it's coming up to be released. Okay, so it's all good things. It's really actually beneficial for you if emotions are to arise and you be with them. You allow them the space to rise up and to dissipate. So the point of this work is that we're unhinging the anxiety in our system. We're unhinging stored stress, stored emotions, and allowing the spaciousness for things to move in the system. Okay? So without further ado, we'll get into it. I'm going to use a chair. You don't have to use a chair for this first part, it's just for the first part. You can also be sitting on the ground. If you have a chair right by you handy, you can pause the video and grab your chair. If not, please just sit cross-legged on the ground. That's totally perfect as well. So I'll be on my chair. And I'll also say, it can be nice, it's not necessary, but it can be nice to have music in the background. So if you want to also pause the video and put on some instrumental music in the background, that can be nice. Just make sure that there's no words. It's best if there's nothing that can get us in a mental place. So just light instrumental music in the background can be nice, and it's also not necessary. So I'll have my feet flat on the ground. The reason I like to use a chair is because my feet can be connected to the ground. And this is already something that is helpful in grounding the system. So I'll have my feet flat on the ground, and if you're sitting on the ground, cross-legged or however's comfortable for you, that's perfect. And I invite you to, however you're sitting, ground, connect to the earth, connect to the ground, connect to the surface that's supporting you. So I'm not only going to connect to the ground that's under my feet, I'm going to connect to my bum on the chair. Just feel that grounding. Okay. Then we begin with rubbing our hands together. So feel the friction between the hands and bring your full attention to this friction, to this sensation, to what you feel. Also bringing your eyes to your hands, so often where our eyes go, our attention follows. So bring your gaze to your hands and just feel. So this is something I'm going to repeat all class, and in every Embodied Mind class, you're simply feeling. When we feel, we heal. So we're feeling this friction, and you might feel heat, a little bit of warmth. And already, just in bringing our full attention to our hands, we're already bringing a lot of presence, okay? Because our hands, our body, can only be in the present moment. Can't be in the past, can't be in the future. And so it's a very great tool in looking at our hands, especially because our hands are into everything. Our hands are very much this extension to the external world, the first line of contact. looking at the hands, and then we'll start to bring the self-touch to other places of our body. And move at a pace that feels good for you. So I would suggest we draw the little circles with our hands in a more slow fashion. Okay, if it feels more safe, if it feels more presencing for you to move the circles a bit faster, then be my guest. I would suggest moving a bit slower. Okay, because we're wanting to soothe. We're wanting to bring more grounding, more calm. Okay? And the more you work with me, the more you'll understand why sometimes for an individual person going a little bit faster can be okay. But for now, I'll say, go slow. So then we'll take the right hand and we're going to draw these circles down the left arm. Just brushing down the arm from where the shoulder and the chest meet, all the way down to the fingers. I like to go down to the tip of my pointer finger. And I like to do that because this motion along your arm, it's actually going along the lung meridian. So in traditional Chinese medicine, this is the lung meridian. And doing these little motions helps to tonify that channel. And we're actually in lung season right now, in the fall, in the late fall. So we're giving like a little extra help to our physiology in brushing in the lung meridian direction. And then we'll do the other side. So left hand goes down the right arm. And again, feel what you feel. So you might have already started to go a little bit into your thoughts. That's okay. Bring your eyes to the action that you're doing. Bring your attention to the action you're doing. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this self-touch to the sides of my torso, and then start to move the self-touch down my legs. And if you're sitting on the ground, you can also do this down your legs. If you're sitting on a chair, I like to bring it all the way out the top of my feet. And it might also feel good to bring it out the top of your feet and just touching the ground for a brief second and come back with the legs. So when we're bringing our attention to the body with touch, we're bringing our gaze to the body. We're bringing the presencing in. We're also orienting to the sensations of the body. So we're starting to lay this container out for allowing the body to speak, allowing the body to move, allowing the body to unravel. Okay? And it also brings soothing to the nervous system because it's something very simple. We're touching ourselves, and that helps to calm us. And we're not in our thinking brain. Okay, we're in this very tactile experience. So one more of those, and then I'm going to stand. So go ahead and move your chair out of your way if you're sitting on a chair, or just come to stand if you were sitting on the ground. We're going to bring in a little bit of Qigong movement into our practice with some breath work. So just very simple. On the inhale, we're bringing the arms up, palms face up. And exhaling down. You can do the exhale out your mouth or out your nose. Inhale up. And exhale down. A few more like this, and we're matching the breath with our movement. And again, bring your eyes to your hands. And really slow down the movement so your full attention is on the movement that you're doing. And see if you can start to feel your hands moving through space. So if you slow it down enough and you bring your attention to this movement, you bring in a lot more capacity to sense this spatial awareness. Your body moving through the space, it almost starts to feel like space is almost like a little bit more dense even. You can start to sense, as time goes on, the more we do those practices, you start to sense through the fingertips. A few more of these. You might start to notice you're feeling a bit more calm. Last one. And as your hands fall, I want you to slowly fold over your legs. You do not have to touch the ground. You just come as far as is comfortable, and you're just coming into an easy forward fold. Allowing the body to be heavy, and then you're just going to sway from side to side. Let your torso be super heavy. Again, bringing your full awareness to the movement. And if this is uncomfortable at all, you can skip this part. We'll do one more sway, and then I want you to come down to your hands and knees. And so you're going to come to a tabletop position. And I want to remind us of something that I said at the beginning of class. So we learned to move before we learned to think. So again, trust the movement. And we're doing a little bit of this kind of non-linear movement on our hands and knees to not only get us out of the thinking brain and to bring our awareness to the body, to allow, if there's anything there, to start to arise, but also to practice letting the body take the lead. So we're on our hands and knees, and you're just going to let the movement be really organic. So let your head be totally heavy. And my head won't totally be heavy because I'm going to keep talking you through the practice, but I want your head to be totally relaxed. I want your neck to be totally relaxed, okay? So as much as you can, you're not in your thoughts, and even sometimes it can be helpful. I like to even kind of shake my head, and you might even want to shake it a little bit quicker. Just get the neck muscles relaxed. Get the head heavy. Then we bring a little bit more movement into it. So it might not be hip circles. You might just be rocking. It might feel very soothing for you to just kind of rock back and forth. So when we were babies and we learned how to move our bodies through space to get from point A to point B, we started on the ground. Okay, so we were using this intrinsic understanding, this instinctual understanding of gravity and of our relationship to ground. It all started with our relationship to ground, to the earth. And so bringing in a bit of that element into this little practice we're doing. We're feeling really supported by the earth. We have our base with our hands and with our knees on the ground, and then we can explore our body moving through space. Really bringing, again, the attention to the movement. Let your breath be organic and soft, so we're not trying to sink our breath. We're not trying to elongate the breath or do anything with the breath. We're just letting it be easy. Okay, because we're trusting that our body knows what to do, that our body knows how to move in the way that it needs to move right now. You might want to bend our arms a bit. Just taking the next minute or two, just explore this free movement. Let it be like a moving meditation, just allowing the body to take the lead. You might have a couple of sighs come in. Feel more breaths. Okay, and then slowly come to sitting on your heels, or you can come back into a cross-legged position. And just taking a few moments to kind of integrate what we've done so far. So a lot of times these practices can feel like there's not much happening, but when we really bring our attention, there's a lot happening, okay? We're giving this space, this spaciousness for our bodies to speak, so a lot might have risen up, okay? It's very individual, especially at the beginning stages of sensorial practices. But just taking a few moments, kind of tuning in with what's there, not getting into the thinking brain. And we're going to bring our hands to our heart. And we might want to close our eyes for a few minutes or a few moments. I like to keep my eyes open because a lot of times keeping our eyes open helps us not to go into the thinking brain. And we're going to do a bit of tracking. So if your eyes were closed for a few moments, we're going to open them back up. So this is a nervous system practice called tracking. And it's a grounding practice, it's a presencing practice, it's very soothing to the nervous system, and if we're feeling overwhelmed or we're starting to get into our thoughts, it's a really great tool to bring us back into our body and get us oriented to what's around us in the here and now. So what we do when we're tracking is we're looking at objects in the space around us, And we're going to name the object out loud, and then we're going to orient that object in relation to us. So for me, I might say yoga bar, outlet, weight, door. And just keeping it to a few things you see. And then the next step is we say door, me. And when you say me, I want you to actually look at your body. So this is, again, bringing that full attention back to the body. Door, me. Yoga bar, me. And you can even reinforce the me by kind of giving a little pat with your hands on your heart. Outlet, me. Computer, me. Weight, me. And even taking that extra millisecond when you come to me, acknowledging this beautiful body that you have, me. Okay, this body is also you. So a couple more rounds of this. Window, me. And then again, just taking a moment and feeling what's there. You might want your eyes closed, you might want to keep them open. Whatever feels safest for you, more soothing for you. We're going to take a few extra seconds here and just kind of tune in as we have our hands on our heart. What's there? Is there anything that's arising? There might not be. If there is something there, you can name it to yourself with just one word. So, for example, it might be happiness. Or it might be loneliness. And taking a few more moments to feel what it is. Maybe there's a sensation that goes along with this one emotion. And you can name it just one word. It's not getting into your thoughts about it, just one word. So maybe it's fuzzy. Or maybe it's warm. Taking a few more moments, just allowing what is there to be felt. So as much as you can, if there's any thoughts that are coming in, bring your attention back to what you feel. Right in the space where your hands are. Is there a color to this sensation? Is there a color to this emotion? And if your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes, and we'll take a few big breaths, relaxing our hands down onto our lap. going to end our Embodied Mind class with a brief meditation, just to kind of synthesize everything. So again, you can have your eyes open for this. So for some people, meditating with their eyes open is actually better because it helps them not go into their thoughts. Or maybe you might want to have just a soft gaze, kind of even keeping your focus kind of on the peripheral view. And if you're brand new to meditation, awesome, welcome. There's no doing it right or wrong. Okay, so we're just taking a moment to kind of be restful with our minds, with our thoughts. So whether you have your eyes open or closed, we can have our hands relaxed, can roll our shoulders out just a bit, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Let your breath be soft. And very simply, we're noticing the space between our thoughts. So you might notice the space and then right away more thoughts come in, and that's perfectly okay. We just bring our awareness back to that spaciousness, that awareness, this innate wisdom space that's always there. And so we're taking a little visit to this place as this recognition, as this reminder that this spaciousness, this innate awareness is always with us. No matter what we're facing, no matter what we're experiencing, no matter what has risen in this practice, in this class, no matter what is arising for us in our everyday lives, we have this spaciousness, we have this awareness. And so again, as the thoughts rise and fall, notice what is there between the thoughts. Notice that spaciousness. This silence. And again, returning to that silence, the thoughts rise and fall. Notice what always remains. Resting in this awareness for another minute. Coming back to it again and again. Allowing everything to soften in your mind. And then with your next inhale breath, letting the eyes come open. Taking a big breath. And thank you for coming to Embodied Mind. If any questions arose during the class or anything came up for you that you want to discuss with me, you can email me. So my email is danielle@danielle-rubio.com. DANIELLE @danielle-rubio.com. And I'll also type it into the comments as well. You are also more than welcome to send me a DM on my Instagram. So I am Danielle Rubio. Most of you probably know that, and just hit a message for me in the DMs. So thank you for joining, and we'll be here again in 2 weeks.